everybody. Today's video is a response to Kane Cordova, and link in the description box to his channel. His video is Question to Agent of Doubt, Paranormal Experiences. Here we go.
Hello everyone. So this video is to my friend, Mr. Agent of Doubt. I have a question for you.
Okay.
You've been alive way longer than I have. And kind of a dick thing to say.
Yes, that's a dick thing to say.
Leave it. Recording. Agent of Doubt, have you ever experienced anything that couldn't be explained? I'm talking like paranormal wise. Something that just out of the ordinary that caught your eye, and it's something out of place, or something like a glitch, and you just couldn't explain it. I know you probably don't believe in ghosts or paranormal activity or anything like that sort. Maybe you do. I'm not too sure about that. But I would like to hear your answer. It'll be pretty interesting. I mean, you're a guy that explores a lot of creepy places like me. And I don't know. You seem like a deep exploring type of dude, and I don't know, maybe you have some stories to tell.
Okay, so Misty, my girlfriend, she actually she saw your video, and I will leave a link in the description box below to another video I made where I explicitly say that Misty is actually the explorer of the two of us, and that I make the videos like cataloging our exploration. Basically just, yeah, it was funny. It was a funny moment for her to say, "Oh, Mr. Big Explorer guy," and yeah, I played it up, but yeah, Misty has a lot to do with what I do as far as exploring paranormal places, and also creepy murder scenes and whatnot, and yeah, I think tonight we're going to find the place where Christopher Watts, an accused murderer, dumped the body of his wife and kids, and yeah, I think the actual location wasn't put out publicly, but Misty has a lead on where it might be, and right now would be the best time to narrow it down, since it's probably got police tape around it, because the bodies were discovered yesterday, and so, somebody should know where the location was that is interested in this kind of stuff. So we're going to go out and narrow it down, just because, we're into that kind of thing, but mostly she is, and she sent me the text changing our dinner plans. But yeah, the credit's not all mine. Let's see.
Yeah, that was my question. Hopefully you respond to me. Either send me a tweet or video will be better. I love video responses.
Here will be the video.
But honestly, I just want to know if you experienced anything paranormal out of the ordinary. Whether the energy in the place, or something that just...
Hello?
Hey, babe.
Hey.
I was just wondering if we were going to go find that body dump site right away when you got home.
I don't know.
Because we want to go when there's still daylight, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it'd be better for you to bring that leftover Panda Express.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Yeah, we'll just warm that up, and then we'll go. As soon as you get here, we'll go.
Well, we're waiting for our client. She's not here, so we're wondering if she forgot. So we're just going to wait a few minutes and then go if she doesn't show up.
Okay. Well,
all right.
See you in a couple hours.
I love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
continue with Kane's video.
This triggered you. In a weird way. Alright. Thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe. Where is it? Right over there. Subscribe. And catch you guys next video. Thanks for watching.
Okay, so there isn't much that has happened in my life that I have not been able to explain, but prior to me becoming as educated as I am in skepticism, I had a couple experiences where I didn't find an explanation for them, and there's no way to go back in time and recheck those things with the mindset that I have now, you know. So those things, I guess, will never be explained. I mean, I had a couple nightmares that were really weird. Some of them kind of bridged a gap between, like, waking and dream state, where I was dreaming, and then what was happening in my dream, like, was perceived by me to still be happening while I was awake, and I was still experiencing the dream maybe a couple seconds after waking, and that was really creepy to me. I had a couple dreams where I could see what was on top of a roof, some toys that were up there, and then later I climbed that roof and found the toys. I don't know if it was like a memory that I was remembering that the toys were up there, or that I saw them from a distance or something, but I later went up. This was like when I was 13. I went up on a roof and found those toys so I could play with them. And yeah, I really couldn't say that anything after I was an educated person, an educated older man with some gray hair, long in the tooth. Nothing has happened that I couldn't explain it, at least as well as it's not a paranormal experience, per se. I think the weirdest feeling I've had, actually, was growing up in evangelical churches, seeing people do some of the Pentecostal style, flopping like a fish, speaking in tongues, and, you know, backflips in the pews and whatnot. And it was a sort of group mania that I was witnessing, where everyone seemed to be in on it, you know. And I was kind of like the little kid in The Emperor's New Clothes. I was pointing out, like, you just sound like a baby. That's like, what is that? You're all just playing along. Nothing here is happening that couldn't be explained by you guys are just all pretending to each other, you know. There's no bursts of light flying out of people's hands. There's no, you know, lightning. There's no, like, visible energy at all. There's nothing that could have been explained in those situations without just people. I'm not gonna recut this video, but, like, the memories that I have of that time, there was something that came out of it in that I learned about stage fright. This is something that gets employed with altar calls in evangelical churches, where they say, anybody who hasn't accepted Jesus into your heart, please come forward, and then everyone's in front of the pulpit, and like, they'll do a laying on of hands where, like, everybody gathers around and tries to touch the person who needs to ask Jesus into their heart and whatnot. And I went through a couple of those, and I'll say that the rush of adrenaline that you feel in those moments, when you're still trying to suss out whether you're a true believer or not. I'd say it's kind of scary and weird, and that's probably my closest experience is what I would now describe as stage fright. You know, I've had to give presentations, and I've played instruments in front of people in different settings, and I'd say with time I just kind of lost my stage fright at all. I've made like 3,000 YouTube videos, and I'd say that's probably the closest thing to feeling something creepy, you know. Another weird note on that is I've had people explain it to me that was the Holy Spirit entering into my body, and the Holy Spirit doesn't do that lightly, and if you respond negatively to it, and if you reject that being the Holy Spirit's not going to come again. You know, I've had people explain that rush that you feel is magical, and then to have gotten it is a gift directly from the Holy Spirit. So for people who believe that and hear me say that I now feel like that was just something that you could give anyone with any sort of lore when you're raising them, and then have a whole bunch of the adults around them sort of play their parts. You know, people in that evangelical belief system, they would probably look at me as like worse than a heretic, you know, worse than an outsider just describing what they go through, you know, what their experience is. I'm somebody who is now an apostate, for lack of a better word, to evangelical Christian thought. So that is about as close as it comes to me for having like a weird feeling. I've walked into a church where everyone was speaking in tongues, not just one person, like some churches have a rule, like one person does it, the other person interprets. I walked into places where like everyone was doing it, and the cacophony that is produced by everyone speaking in tongues all at the same time, it kind of has this overtone that reminded me of like satanic chants from movies like The Omen, you know, to where I'm like, don't you guys realize that you sound like the opposite of what you stand for, you know? I'd say that the reason why I'm in the field that I'm in is because it is the closest thing to magic that I can affect from my body directed at somebody else as far as energy is concerned. And that is, I counsel people right now specifically on addictions, but it's, you know, sound vibrations from my mouth in the form of words that then hit their ears, and then sometimes I can affect a change in them where their behavior changes, and it's close to casting a spell on someone that fixes a part of their lives. And I'd say the opposite of what I do right now, the dark side of that energy, would be marketing or faith healing, you know, or especially cold reading. It is the like exact opposite of what I do. Cold reading. And I've made videos about this previously on this channel, but, you know, everything gets lost when you've made thousands of videos. Like, people like are not going to watch my entire backlog. A couple have, and it took them like 4 months to do it, so I don't recommend watching every video I've ever made, but as far as like where I find the magic of my perspective, the magic in my life, it's in my work. That's why I do what I do, is I find it very close to the excitement that somebody else might get from LARPing with role play with, you know, wizard's robes on. You know, my brother is a network engineer and is very into technology, any new technology that comes out. And I used to be an electronics calibration technician myself. And some of the things that you can do with technology sometimes look magical, especially if we were to go back in time and we were to show a caveman the rock that we talk into and we can see each other's faces. You know, this would look like magic, this cell phone in my hand, but really there are really good explanations in the physical realm, and at the root of it all, my atheism and also disbelief in paranormal happenings, I think is just plain skepticism. And if you hang around the corners of the internet that I've been on, you'll get at least a master's degree worth of indoctrination into skepticism and all of the different logical fallacies, and it'll make it a lot harder for you to be tricked by somebody who's just peddling something that has an explanation other than magic. But it will also come with a point where you're going to have to learn how to suspend your disbelief in order to enjoy some of what our culture brings out in the arts. You have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes a lot and say, well, how would somebody who actually believes in Christianity receive this movie, The Passion of the Christ? You know, would it be that compelling if you were to just think about it in terms of how they view the world? You know, and sometimes it's to me, that's a lesson I learned from professional wrestling. Was, you know, yeah, you might understand that it's fake and it has a predetermined outcome and it's all choreographed, but if you're going to enjoy it while you watch it, you have to pretend for a while that it's real, and then as soon as the program's over, you can go back to your skeptical thinking and yeah, where other people might say that their faith is the bedrock of their lives, and that whenever they're going through hard times, they fall back on their faith. For me, it has been, I fall back on rational thinking. You know, I retrace my steps, figure out what went wrong, and how I can avoid that in the future. And it's been a lot more soothing to me than the absence of an answer from praying. You know, I remember as a kid being taught to pray about things that were going wrong in everyone's lives, mine and other people's, and pray for God to come fix it. And it didn't work out that way for me. And for me, I've had a lot more solace in just realizing what it is that I can affect change in, and what it is that I can't, and just going back to a set of routines that help me suss out what the truth is, you know, and the bedrock of all of that for me is skepticism. Hope that was enough of an answer for you. I got something for another YouTuber tomorrow. Link in the description box to Kane's video. Subscribe to him, and I'll catch you all later.